You're back on mute, Ed. But I'm pretty sure you got to give it your credit card number and it'll go away.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
You close out and rejoin, maybe?
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, Jim.
Hey,
How
Jim.
you doing? How you doing?
Good.
Hey, Jim.
And we had a nice downpour. Hi, Joe. We had a nice downpour, huh?
That's good to take care of some of that pollen.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it's my fault, though, because I washed my car today.
Yeah,
If I wash my car every day, our drought problems will be over.
probably.
Well, I didn't wash it. I went to the car wash. Let's be clear. I'm not using water outdoors.
Funny guy.
All right, so we have Jim. I know that we are not going to have Peggy at this meeting. But it looks like we at least have a quorum here. Jim, Ted, Ed, myself. So we can go ahead and get started. Ted, if you want to read the script there.
I got it right here and I'm happy to get going. This is the May 19th, 2026 open meeting of the Hopkinton Conservation Commission being conducted remotely, consistent with an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. The new law authorizes all members of a public body to continue participating in meetings remotely. The open meeting law's requirement that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location remains suspended. For this meeting, the Hopkinton Conservation Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the Conservation Commission agenda, identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting may also be broadcast by HCAM through one or many of its channels or platforms. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Please also keep yourself on mute unless and until called on by the chair. Supporting materials that have been provided to members of the commission for this meeting are available on the town's website. This meeting will feature public comment. After commission members and staff have discussed each project application on the agenda, the chair will open the discussion to public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak are asked to identify their name and address. 3 minutes will be afforded for each public comment. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted via roll call of the members. I will now confirm which commission members are present. Melissa Ricos.
Present.
Ed Harrow.
Present.
Jim Cirillo.
Present.
Walter Garland.
Present.
Matt Moyen.
Present.
Peggy Shaw. And I am Ted Barker Hook. I am present. I will now confirm staff that are present. Judy Day, the Hopkinton Conservation Administrator.
Present.
Anna Rogers, the Environmental and Inspectional Services Coordinator.
Present.
And Joe Orzel of Lucas Environmental.
Present.
Before I pass it back to you, Melissa, I will let everybody in the room know that we have 2 hearings that have been continued. They will not be heard tonight. Both have been continued to June 9th. One is the Town of Hopkinton DPW meeting. The other is Kelly 15 Montana Road. Again, both continued to June 9th, 2026.
All right, thanks, Ted.
You're welcome.
So let's go ahead and work through a few work session items before we head to the new hearings. We'll go to the draft minutes for review. Did anyone have any comments or not have enough time to review the November 25th, 2025 meeting notes? Members present were Ted, Walter, Ed, Matt, myself. There's no questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second.
Second them.
Second, we'll give that one to Walter. All in favor, Ted,
Ted is an aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and I am also an aye. Now I'll jump to the December 16th, 2025 minutes. Members present were Ted, Jim, Ed, Matt, and myself. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make that motion. This is Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Second.
Second by Matt. All in favor, Ted,
Ted is an aye.
Jim,
Jim is an aye. Sorry.
all right, Ed,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and I am also an aye. And moving along to the January 27th, 2026 meeting minutes, present we had Jim, Ed, Matt, myself, and Peggy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have 4. So does anyone have any questions or comments on the January 27th meeting minutes? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve them.
I'll make that motion.
And can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, Jim,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and I am also an aye.
Should we record my abstention or is that assumed?
Sure, we can go ahead. Members not present for that meeting will abstain, including Ted.
Correct.
All right. And Walter. Okay. So we're all set there. Thank you all. Next up, we have 10 Clinton Street, septic system replacement. This is a project change request. Judy, do you want to go through this one for us? Give us the background.
Sure, through the chair.
Yeah.
Pull up the sketch plan. We also have the new homeowners on the call if anyone has questions for them. But just an overview of the request. The commission had issued an order of conditions for the replacement of a septic system at this property, 10 Clinton Street, back in December 2025. The septic system was designed to be surrounded by a 3 to 3.5 foot retaining wall. And the property has since changed hands, and the new owners are now requesting a project change to include 2 small sets of stairs on 2 sides of the retaining wall, one here and one here, to allow access to the rear portion of the property, not having to go through the fence around the pool here, as well as to make any maintenance they might need to do, mowing on top of the septic system a little easier. So the new homeowners supplied the dimensions of the stairs. So total added impervious surface would be 24 square feet, with the 2 3x4 sets of stairs being attached to the retaining wall. So that's a bit of a summary. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, the new homeowners are on the call.
Okay. Thanks, Judy. That seems pretty straightforward. I don't know. I'll invite the new homeowners if they have anything they want to add to what Judy just presented.
Hello,
Just
Dan Black,
introduce-
10 Clinton. Yeah, really just to get access up there for any maintenance that needs to be done, as well as avoid having the kids have to go through the pool area to get to the rest of the yard. Yeah, happy to answer any other questions. Excuse me, bud.
Yeah, thank you. That seems like a reasonable request to me, and I would consider that in line with a simple project change request. I don't know if anyone else on the commission has any thoughts or comments or questions. No? Anyone in the audience? Any questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, can I get a motion to go ahead and accept this project change request or approve this project change request with signatures by Judy or Anna?
This is
So
Ed.
moved.
Make that motion.
All right, Ed, motion second
I'll
to,
second. I'll
Jim?
second.
all right. All in favor, Jim,
Aye.
Ted,
Ted is an aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and myself, I am an aye. So thank you. You're all set.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, let's see, it's 7:09. And I do see that we have Mr. Petrosi on the line, and we put him first on the new hearings agenda here tonight. So let's go ahead and open this one up. Ted, if you don't mind. Wall Street Development, 12 North Mill, notice of intent.
The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Wall Street Development Corporation to construct a new single-family home, driveway, and associated site work. Location 12 North Mill Street, Assessors Map R19, Block 23, Lot E.
Thank you, Ted. So I'll just give a little background on why we're re-advertising and reopening this hearing, because it had been a continued hearing for quite a while. It was, I think, over a year, and we had 10 hearings at least, and we had changeover of commission members. So we had 2 members who hadn't been present for more than half of the meetings, and I think we only had maybe 1 or 2 members that had attended at least 9 of the meetings. So given the length of time, Town Council had advised that this be re-advertised and reopened so that everyone could vote on it and get updated, both the abutters and the commission members. I will say, I think that, well, Peggy's not here tonight. Walter is. Walter, most of this project was before you joined the commission, so I'll still leave that up to you as to whether you would feel comfortable after the discussions tonight. But with that being said, that's kind of why we're here at a new hearing status for 12 North Mill.
Through the chair. So
Yes,
you're saying, Melissa, that the whole plan is going to be represented?
It is. I'm going to ask now, I'm going to ask Mr. Petrosi if he can give us a summary of the proposal and go through, the alternatives analysis and represent the materials that have been in the file. We don't have to go through every rendition of them, but basically what's being presented to us to vote on. And I think the alternatives analysis is important. And then we can summarize some of the public comments that we received. And we'll hear from Joe too on any outstanding or the responses to comments that have most recently come in, and I can go over what the commission has discussed in the past as well. It's my plan anyway. If that makes sense to you, Mr. Petrosi, Judy, and I guess I'll ask Judy if you have anything to add to my background intro there.
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. Then Mr. Petrosi, do you want to go ahead and...
Sure, thank you very much.
Yep.
As you stated, we, due to the turnover in the members of the commission and the prospect that some of the commission members were not able to attend some of the hearings, we made a decision at the last meeting to re-advertise to give the new members as well as some of the other existing members to vote on this or consider voting on this proposal. As you said, this submittal was made back in January of last year. The initial proposal called for a access from North Mill Street with a driveway crossing the wetlands to a proposed house location in the rear of the property where the house and septic system could be located in compliance with all the regulations relative to the installation of those facilities. During the process, we proposed some alternatives that had the house and the septic and the well all proposed in different locations over the course of time. We eventually filed an application for a variance with the zoning board to allow a setback from the street to be reduced from 60 feet down to 30 feet. And also we were able to determine that we were able to locate the house and the septic and the well in the front portion of the lot without crossing the wetlands and leaving the remaining portion of the lot undisturbed without altering any resource areas beyond the existing property portion of the property along North Mill Street. However, that required us to comply with the regulations related to setback of septic system from wetland resource areas, setback from the street, and the location of a well, and also to be able to replicate the wetlands with the required 1.5:1 ratio. So the current plan that's hopefully will be considered tonight is to locate the house, the septic, and the well within the front portion of the property with replication that is equal to 1.5:1, leaving the remaining portion of the property undeveloped or undisturbed. And this proposal would still, although it complies with the Board of Health regulations for Title V septic systems and the setback from the street 30 feet with the variance from the zoning board, would still require a waiver of the Board of Health regulation for setback of a well from a wetland BVW. And that application will be forthcoming or filed with the Board of Health once we have the blessings of the Concom vis-a-vis this proposal that's on the table right now. So this is the best plan to avoid and minimize and or mitigate the impacts to the resource areas. And we've requested certain waivers from the local regulations for this work to be undertaken within the buffer zones that are established by the commission under their regulations. So we are at that point. Without the waiver, without the granting of the waivers and the other things that we've discussed, the lot becomes what we would consider to be unbuildable, and therefore there are other implications for that application of the regulations that would result in the unbuildable status for the lot. So this lot, by the way, was created back in the 1980s, before your regulations, before your rules and regulations came into place in the bylaw. So it is a pre-existing lot, and it is entitled to certain consideration as a result of being a pre-existing lot. So I'm hoping the commission will look favorably upon what we're trying to do here and take advantage of the variance that's been granted to us and allow us to build this house and the septic within the front portion of the lot. And that's pretty much my presentation as it stands right now.
Melissa, you're on mute.
Thank you. I was just saying, Judy, do you have a summary? I'm putting you on the spot here. Of public comments or a brief summary. I know we don't need to read them all. But are you comfortable giving a synopsis of what we've received for public comments?
Sure.
I'm trying to find them in the file and I'm stumbling
so
right
we've
now.
got one abutters letter dated September 15th, 2025. So that one talks about the amount of wetlands on the property and concern about potential for flooding as a result of construction and development on the property.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Excuse me, Judy, for 1 second. I believe that letter was at the time that we had the culvert that was going to cross the wetlands. And the concern was that the culvert may cause, during a high rainstorm or high rainfall event, would cause flooding to back up onto the property. But since that time, and we revised this plan not to cross the wetlands, I think that concern was alleviated as a result of this current proposal. Am I correct with that, Judy?
Yeah, it does appear that this letter was submitted in response to the original plan, or in response to at least the alternative with the crossing. That's the only written public comment that I'm seeing in the file.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will open it up now then for additional public comment. Does anyone from the public want to share comments at this time?
Bruce Umgren, 9 North Mill Street.
Yes.
Judy's assessment of that letter is accurate. Many of us are concerned about the intermittent stream. The current plan appears to avoid the stream entirely, and presumably the wetland replication would not affect that stream, although that's an issue I'd like the Concom to address. Also, as part of this presentation, I think Mr. Petrosi had talked about including a deed restriction to eliminate or prevent any future construction on that property if this plan were to be accepted. Is that true?
That was the proposal, yes. A similar restriction that was on the adjoining property out to the rear of the property has a similar restriction for I don't remember what the wording is, but it's to keep the property in its natural condition, let's say.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. I'm going to turn it over to Joe Orzel and see if there's any comments from your most recent letter, which you received response to comments that are outstanding or that you wanted to bring up to the commission's attention from the latest review.
Yeah, I think for the most part, our comments have been addressed. There's a couple of items I'll just mention regarding invasive species. We're still recommending that there's a construction phase invasive species management. and that any vehicles, as has been stated repeatedly, there's not a lot of invasive species on the site, primarily glossy buckthorn. I think one of the prime things we want to avoid is introducing any additional invasive species during the construction work. And best management practices to make sure that the machinery coming on the site is clean and is not carrying any potential invasive species onto the site. So we recommend that as a condition if the commission chooses to close the hearing. Also recommended if the commission is satisfied with the discussions that has occurred on an alternate technology for the septic system. I think it's been stated that even an alternate technology would still require the setbacks. Just wanted to bring that up if there was any additional discussion that the commission felt might be needed on that. The applicant recently submitted a request, just a sentence requesting a waiver from section 5.1 and section 5.11. We would recommend that a formal waiver request be submitted for the record.
And Joe, what were those section 5.1 and section?
Let me check what that is. Providing a completed replication guideline checklist, that's 5.11, as well as other requirements listed under 5.1 regarding replication area. So the description, narrative of the replication area, proposed replication has been submitted, just that checklist has not been submitted to my knowledge.
Okay. So I guess I'll ask Mr. Petrozzi, you're requesting a waiver from that requirement to provide the checklist. Is there some reasoning behind that for the commission to consider?
Well, I think primarily is the protocol for wetland replication pretty much takes care of many of the items that are in that checklist. I think it's a redundant item that for this particular type of project, I don't think is really applicable because it's just a small area, doesn't require much in the way of excavation or, and I just think that the wetland replication protocol takes that, it provides that information without having to do a checklist. That checklist is very, very detailed and quite extensive. That's why we requested the waiver, because we think we're doing what is required in the wetland replication protocol.
Okay. Joe or Zell, do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know that I've run into a request to waive that before. But to be honest, I haven't compared the checklist to replication protocol to know how close they are.
Yeah, I think I was fairly satisfied with the protocol that was presented, although I have not compared them side by side. I was hoping that the checklist would be submitted to avoid having to do that. I guess the commission could possibly consider some conditions regarding the checklist if any of the requirements appear to be missing, but that would require additional review or comments.
Right.
I think one of my only other comments is that with respect to the replication area, the existing soil should only be reused if it is obtained from an area that's free of the glossy buckthorn. That could be a condition, I believe. And also, I think importantly, my last recommendation is that the proposed sump area for the well be lined with a waterproof barrier to prevent infiltration of any of the fluids, the drilling mud. Those can potentially pick up contaminants during the drilling process, and as that is in the wetland, and as a temporary disturbance in the wetland, I would want to avoid any kind of infiltration into the soil of any potential contaminants coming from the well drilling. And I think that really concludes my comments from the last memo.
Okay. Condition for lining the sump that's in place during construction.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm just gonna go through my notes on a few things that we talked throughout the hearing in regards to the Wetland Protection Act and the local bylaw and considerations when we're looking at this proposal and the waivers.
Through the chair.
Yes. Anna.
It looks like we might have additional abutter comments.
In the audience? Are you saying?
Correct. Yeah, there's somebody with the hand raised.
Okay. Go ahead. Ellen Deutsch?
Yes. Ellen Deutsch, 16 North Mill Street.
Yes.
I'm just curious, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here and it's going to be brought up, but we're talking about the sump and everything like that. My understanding is that the Board of Health would not sign off on the proposal. So I'm wondering how that's going to be addressed, or if I just haven't gotten to that part yet in the meeting. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Is it, in regards to the Board of Health approval for the well, whatever is decided by the Conservation Commission for this plan, when we vote on it, if we vote to approve the plan, then that it's contingent, or there's conditions in there that the plan must also go through all the other permitting processes in town in order for it to be valid and for the applicant to move forward with it. So somebody's got to go first, in approving plans. So we do have that as a standard condition in our approval, that the applicant, has to get all their other permits lined up and in place.
Okay, so this doesn't preclude the Board of Health needing to sign off on it as well?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I have that all right. Judy, right? Anything?
Yes. Actually, I don't believe he's applied with Board of Health yet. So there is no application currently in front of Board of Health. They've just been having informal discussions, as I understand it.
Yeah. But in order to build the project, even if he had a permit from conservation, he couldn't build it without the well and going to Board of Health for the well and the septic approval. Yeah.
Yeah. All necessary permits, building permit, anything else that would apply. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I guess, yep. And you might have mentioned it, Mr. Percy, when you gave your rundown, but that just made me think that you did go in front of the zoning board and got the setback reduced from the front lot line. So you're clear with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. We will have to file for with the Board of Health for the approval of the septic system, and we will probably, given the parameters of their current regulations, we will need a waiver from their regulations regarding the setback of a well from a BBW.
Yep. Okay. Are there any other public comments at this time? No. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go through a few things from the commission's bylaws and regulations side of things. So for this particular plan and other ones similar to it, where there's a waiver being asked from our local bylaw, something that's specific to our bylaw and isn't something that is required under the act. Typically, we will bifurcate the vote. So when we vote on it, we'll take one vote just under the act, looking at the Wetland Protection Act, and then we'll vote according to the bylaw, because those requirements are more stringent and commission members might view it differently, whether they consider it approvable under the act versus approvable under the bylaw. And that situation has certainly happened in the past for us. So one of the things we were talking about is the waiver from the local bylaw, and this came up I think in the very beginning, maybe the first meeting that we have, that, you know, this waiver from the 50-foot within 50 foot of the wetland, the buffer zone, the building is within 13 or 18, like, I don't know, less than 20 feet from the edge of the wetland. And this is why the waiver is required. So the presumption of the bylaw is that buffer zone is needed in order to protect the wetland, that no build zone. So it's not common that the commission considers, waiving this requirement. I think some of the things that the commission has run into in the past is that properties like this, we'll see them come back to us where the homeowner, after the developer is out of the picture, they'll come back and they'll say, you know, the trees are too close to my house. I'm afraid of them falling on my house. And we end up being asked by a future homeowner for more encroachment in the buffer zone. And when you only have, 13, 14 feet to work with, you're just creeping right up to the wetlands, and eventually, potentially eliminating any buffer zone at all. So I'll just throw that out there as a reason why we have this requirement in the bylaw for the 50-foot no disturb zone, is to protect the wetland and to give some distance there, because that's what we've seen in the past based on our experience is needed in order to not impact the wetlands into the future. So in order to approve a waiver, the applicant, so this is under section 6.1 and 6.2 of the regulations. So if there's no practicable condition or alternative that would allow the project to proceed in compliance with the regulation, and the project would not have any adverse effects on the interest and protection of the bylaw, is a reason it might be waived. And in this case, where a waiver is granted in the no disturbance zone, the commission shall require mitigation measures to be implemented to offset presumed impacts to the wetland resource areas. So I know we have a proposed post and rail fence here. That's our mitigation measure, I guess, for the waiver in the no disturb. And it's up to the commission members to decide whether, allowing the waiver and the mitigation measures that are in place will not allow for any adverse impacts to the wetlands into the future. Let's see, one of the other things I had flagged in my notes is section 4 of the regulations. I think we talked about this in one of our meetings as well, where there's fill in the wetland area for the well. And the reason this needs to be done is because there's an offset required between the septic system and the well. So that's why the well is located where it is in the wetland. One of the things about section 4 of the regulations is that it specifies that a wetland alteration intended to make lands buildable as by fulfilling septic system setback requirements or other construction setback requirements or achieve lot area requirements are prohibited. So interpretation of that section 4 as to whether putting that well in the wetland is allowable or not, because it is being done to meet a setback in order to make the lot buildable for this alternative, or this proposal is something to consider. I think those were my notes. I'm going to open it up now to other commission members and see if anyone has anything they want to add to the discussion. Any questions you have for Mr. Petrosi or Joe or anyone else? If there's any additional information members feel like they need to make a decision on this, granting the waiver or otherwise.
Through the chair, Melissa,
Yeah.
I have all the information I need.
Yes, Walter. Go ahead. Oh, wait, you said you have all the information.
Yes, I have all the information.
Okay,
sorry.
I thought you said you don't have.
I
Okay,
went back on mute. I couldn't get off with. Okay, I'm
gotcha.
good.
You're good. Okay. Anyone else? No? Anyone else from the public? All right. Judy or Anna, do you have anything to add? Anything I missed?
Nope, I do not.
I do not.
Okay. Let's go ahead and put it to a vote then. Like I said, I think we should bifurcate the vote so we can first vote under the Wetland Protection Act. And in doing that, I would like to include all of the conditions that Joe mentioned. Judy, do you want me to go through them all, or?
That might be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with the conditions of construction phase invasive species management plan to avoid introducing new invasives and provide best management practices for construction phase invasive species management, I guess. Worded along those lines. We'll include deed restriction on the rear of the property, similar to the adjacent property, as agreed to by Mr. Petrosi.
Through the chair, a quick question about that.
Sure, Ted.
Is there a demarcation line where that deed restriction would kick in? Is there a X number of feet from the rear boundary or something, or is it just a nebulous?
To answer the question, I'm not quite sure. That would be probably everything from the wetlands back, I would imagine. I mean, we're not going to be able to go beyond the post and rail fence. So
Okay.
it's everything else on the property is what we're thinking. And again, I'd have to look at what was the wording of the adjacent restriction, but I can't imagine somebody going back there and doing other things. They have to come back to the commission.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a formality, because I think it would be, I don't see how anything could be done back there
Okay.
anyway. So yeah, if we say page north of the proposed edge of wetland line.
Well, I
If,
think
if,
that's west, but yeah.
if anything, there would, that people would walk back there, it's passive recreational type of activities. But I can't imagine anything else going out back there.
Yep. All right, a condition. I think we should have a condition to incorporate any of the wetland checklist items that are not already included in the wetland replication protocol, to include that in the wetland replication protocol. Does that make sense? So if it's not already in there, then it gets merged into it based on our checklist.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, just was re-looking at my last comments, and I failed to mention that we're also recommending as a condition for the replication area that the amount of rocks and boulders that may be left in place as a habitat feature, which are described in steps 4 and 9 of the protocol that was submitted, that total should not be greater than 10% of the replication area. Just want to clarify that. The wording was, I think, for the up to 10% for boulders, I think was the protocol, and then it also allowed additional stones to be left. I think the total should be no more than 10% for boulders and stones. It's a relatively small area that could take up quite a bit of the replication area.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. So we'll have that one as well, Judy. The condition about fill in the wetlands to avoid the glossy buckthorn area, to prohibit using that for wetland fill. And the condition for lining the sump that's being used during construction of the well with the impervious liner to prevent any infiltration into the wetland or the subsoil. So can I get a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with those conditions that we just discussed? And signatures by Judy and Anna.
So moved.
And I'll second.
All right. All in favor, Jim?
All right.
Ted?
No.
Ed?
No.
Walter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And myself am an aye under the act. So that carries for the act. So can I get a motion to approve the project and issue the requested waiver from the local bylaw?
So moved.
With the, before we move that, with the same conditions that we just talked about under the act?
So moved.
With signatures by Judy and Anna. Go ahead,
So
Walter.
moved.
Through the chair.
Yes, Judy.
Sorry, I think you accidentally said the act again. If you
Sorry. Okay.
the bylaw.
Under the, all right. So under the bylaw, a motion to approve under the bylaw, the requested waiver and the plan with the conditions, same conditions that we just stated for the act, and signatures by Judy and Anna.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Jim, okay. So all in favor, Jim,
All right.
Ted,
Ted is a no.
Ed,
No.
Walter,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and I am a no. So that's 3 and 3. I think you need a majority to approve. All right.
Mayor, does that mean we wait until we have more members?
Nope, that means it did not pass on the second vote. Right, Judy? You need-
Correct. Yes, the motion
Yeah.
failed to
Yeah.
pass.
It's actually no decision. So
Or no, yeah.
we actually had this situation before, and I think we could ask for reconsideration at the next meeting, or we could wait for the next member to come back and have a final decision. But I think in either case, we would then, you still have that provision in there for reconsideration under your regulations, correct?
We do. Yep.
Yeah. So,
It's been used before. Yep.
Yeah. So we've had that occasion before, and I've been involved in those occasions before. So I think in the interim, we haven't closed the hearing yet, have we?
No.
So we have an approval under the act, and we have a stalemate under the regulations. So I guess we would look to try to resolve that stalemate between now and the next meeting. That's, I don't know what else I could do for the parties that voted no, but I think that certainly deserves some rethinking, maybe perhaps on the people who voted no.
Yeah, I think for reconsideration, there needs to be a change that's in there in the wording of the reconsideration.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the wording as it is, and I'm quite honestly, I'm not sure whether or not it requires a formal vote to be reconsidered, but I do think that when we did Leonard Street, we had a similar stalemate, and there was we asked for a continuance of the hearing to come up with some measures that might be acceptable to the parties that voted no, and in that particular instance, votes changed in the interim period. So we can either have it done tonight, or we can carry it over to another meeting.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything more to present tonight. And
keeping in mind that whatever vote the commission takes still needs we still need to go to the Board of Health, and we still need to get that approval from the Board of Health as well. So this has been a process, as you know, and so I think it's up to the commission members to determine if this is worthwhile, rather than end up in a I don't want to call it a dispute, but it would end up in litigation, obviously. So
yeah, I think what Judy
has
has up here right now, within 21 days, or you need to make a formal request for reconsideration.
But that's as of a decision. Is this a tentative decision or a final decision?
No, I mean, we took a vote. It's a final decision.
It's a final decision that it's a stalemate. But I'm not really aware of what the ramifications of a tie vote is. It's not an approval and it's not a denial.
Melissa,
Yes, Jim.
it's a final decision based on the information presented. So if Mr. Petrosi asks for a reconsideration, part of it is because he wants to present new information. Is that correct?
Well, you
So
would think, yeah, you would think so.
Sort of a conditional final vote. If he doesn't appeal or ask for a reconsideration, then it would be the final vote, I think. But
So I think the question is, what is the ramifications of a tie vote? And I don't know the answer to that question. So maybe town council would have an answer for you.
Yeah, we can look at that this week and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what the status of the hearing is what? Are we closing the hearing or are we keeping it open or continuing it to the next meeting?
I think we go ahead and close it, right, Judy? It's
through the chair.
closed. Yeah.
Yeah, as I understand it, a tied vote means that the motion fails.
Right, but
The consideration period opens, but the hearing is officially closed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Judy. It's the motion fails, but what is the end result? Is it nobody took a vote to deny it either? So
The default is a denial.
What?
It's a denial. So the default, it didn't pass. So there's no approval to be given.
Oh, I think you should get an opinion from town council myself.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to do that as well. That's just as I understand it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. But anyways, okay, well, I appreciate at least the approval under the Wetlands Protection Act. I think that I would have to, request reconsideration, and I have, 21 days to do that? Is that 21 days, when does that start? From the date you issue the decision or following receipt of a request?
It actually, I think I misstated. It's number 2. Any applicant can request reconsideration under the bylaw within 10 days.
Within 10 days of what though? Is it, do you have to issue the decision or what do you do?
Through the chair.
Yes, Judy.
I believe it would be 10 days following the vote. Jim is shaking his head. If Mrs. Siriello has.
I don't think that's accurate either, but I think
we can find out tomorrow.
Okay,
I think
I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it either way. I mean, I just need to know what our timelines are, so it becomes a legal matter that we all need to live by the time limits that have been established. And so, if you can get some sort of opinion from legal town council, then that might help.
Yep, we'll do that.
In the meantime, I'll prepare a request for reconsideration, and then what do? You have to re-advertise, right?
I'm not sure. We can go down that road tomorrow and figure out all the path for you.
Okay.
Judy can be in touch. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Good night. All right. Next up, we have our next new hearing, 181 Hayden Row, notice of intent. Ted, would you mind opening this up?
I'd be happy to. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Stephen Doucette to construct a carport, remove a septic system, install a sewer connection to the house and barn, construct 2 egresses from the barn, and associated site work. Location, 181 Hayden Row, Assessor's Map U24, Block 31, Lot 0.
Thanks, Ted.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Do we have someone representing the applicant or someone representing the applicant on the line to present this?
I am the applicant, Steve Doucette.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to give an overview of your project, or do you want Judy to?
Either way, I mean, he kind of summarized what I got going there. I'm gonna, connect the house to the sewer. So that just is collapsing the holding tank. We're not touching the distribution and the leaching fields. They kind of remain intact because they're right up against the leach fields. I don't know if you have the plans in front of you. I don't think I can scroll to you, but you can see where the tank is and the disturbed zone that goes around. And that disturbed zone includes, the sewer going all the way from the back of the house all the way over, and including running a sewer stub to the barn. Because ultimately, eventually, I'm going to try to put an ADU above the barn. So I've submitted plans here to do the septic, put a carport in, and attach the barn. And once I get this approval, I'll proceed to design the interior and submit those with the building commission. I thought initially the historic commission would be a big hurdle to get over here, but apparently, they're not too concerned with what happens on the inside. So I didn't spend any effort until I got approval for these exterior modifications that summarize any impacts to the wetlands. So that's ultimately, let's see, and again, there's a little regrading in the plot plan to get up to the carport, but that's all specified on the plot plan in terms of what's happening with the grading. It's not much. It just makes it a little easier to get a car up and into the carport.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Judy, can you highlight, I'm assuming you're still in control on the screen there, of the proposed work? It's just the plan's a little busy and I'm trying to locate the proposed versus existing that we're talking about.
If you want to share the screen, I could probably show you if you give me a mouse cursor. Will that work? You could take it. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm happy to point out the parts of the plan. So the egress on the back of the barn is right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a proposed landing and stair. There's a new proposed landing and stair also on this side of the barn here. The sewer connection comes off the barn below that landing and continues here along the back of the property. The carport is this rectangle off the existing house. And then the grass paver driveway off the existing driveway, the new area of that is right here.
Okay. So the proposed driveway, the sewer line, all this work except maybe the proposed stair on the back of the building is in disturbed area, it looks like to me.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And that proposed stair landing requires a waiver because that's in the 50?
Correct.
Correct. And that's the only part that's in the 50-foot that is part of the waiver?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, part of the sewer connection.
Part of the sewer, okay.
Small part of the sewer connection right here is in the 50 as well.
Okay.
And then I think Joe had some questions about whether any...
Is the 50 the big black line? Is that what?
It's the big black line is the erosion control barrier.
Yeah.
The 50 is, there's a lot of lines on here, but if you follow 50B and then follow this thinner black line here.
Oh, so it does go up through most of the barn.
Yes, correct.
Right. Because the wetlands come up right behind the barn. Okay.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Joe then. Joe, if you had some questions, comments.
Yeah, I had a few. we did go out and take a look at the delineation and are not recommending any changes. The soil was a little bit spotty in spots with some upland soil located within the wetland, but not to the extent where we'd recommend any changes at this point. Some of invasive vegetation growing in the area proposed for the landing along the barn. Not a lot, but there's some Asiatic bittersweet and garlic mustard in that area. That should probably just be careful to not spread those around the site during the work. There's a couple of small saplings in that same area, a couple of sumacs and quaking aspen that would need to be removed. Just want to be recommending the applicant just clarify how many trees or if any trees would be removed for the work. I know there's a couple of those saplings in that area. We also did note that there were 9 trees along the northern property bounds that 9 stumps, I should say, as shown on the plan. I believe, based on conversation with the applicant, that those were cut by the abutter to the north. And I think Judy had mentioned that there was some approvals given for some tree cutting, but I think Judy has more details on that than I can provide.
Okay.
Also, I'm just checking my notes. I also recommend a little bit more information, which I think was just provided by the applicant regarding the decommissioning of the existing system. It was unclear if any work was going to happen at the existing septic system, and if so, whether the erosion control barrier would be sufficient to contain any potential sediment. It sounds like no work's going to happen in that area from what was just discussed. That should be clarified, I think, or verified. The proposed carport, maybe a brief description of the construction sequence on that. Also recommending that the proposed pavers have a detail provided, just showing the required subsurface conditions for pavers to work adequately. They need to have specific subsurface conditions for them to be able to infiltrate the water. Usually a detail is included with that. There's also 2 small landscaped areas proposed either side of the proposed pavers. Would recommend specifying that those are to be planted with native non-invasive, native non-cultivar species. They are within the buffer zone. And I think that covers my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Those all seem reasonable comments.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go through. Again, I guess I wasn't aware there is any invasive species, but the landing behind the barn, there's actually a door exiting the backside of that barn that has 2 sumac trees in it. Those are the only trees coming down. Judy had actually looked at those and said, understandably said, we would probably grant authority to cut those down because they are literally right in front of the door that exists. And then from that landing perspective, again, they'll be hand dug. There may be 4 to 6 piers dug with sonic tubes by hand. We can be careful about any invasive species that are there. And I don't know if somebody can recommend an herbicide to take them out before I start digging. That might be the easiest way to go. But all manageable. Again, with the neighbor trees, I don't know if that's really an issue. I think Judy had granted authority for the neighboring trees, and they, in fact, I don't know. I think she's got to revisit their plan for what do you call it, reconsideration or for remediation in that space. But they literally cut it. There's still a question as to whether that's my property or his. According to my plot plan, it's my property. According to the neighbor, it's his. So I don't care to get into a dispute there. I've talked to him. We're probably going to come to some agreement as to what we would put outside the non-disturb zone for a privacy hedge, and he'll have to work with the conservation committee as to what he's going to retransplant back in that after my work is done in his backyard.
Okay. Judy, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so we actually went out there quickly today to confirm the trees that were cut were the ones included on an exemption letter we had issued to the neighbor last year. So all of the trees that ended up being cut were confirmed as dead when we went out. And one tree that we had approved to be removed that wasn't dead, he ended up not cutting. So we only require replantings when someone is requesting removal of a living tree. So since the neighbor didn't cut that one tree, I mean, it's covered in bittersweet. It's not happy. So we gave approval along with the other ones, but it didn't end up coming down. So that neighbor actually currently is not on the hook for any replacements. And it did appear that all of the stumps were in the locations of the trees that were dead and were approved to be removed. So I think we are all set on that front.
Okay.
I would just quickly add, I don't think this came up, but there's no DEP number for this filing yet. So that is not suggested to close the hearing today or until we get that DEP number.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would
Through the chair.
Yes, Anna.
When Judy and I were on site today too, we also noticed Japanese knotweed between the two property lines. So that should be either addressed and or watched to not spread, especially where that's all been cut and cleared recently.
Okay.
Japanese what?
Japanese knotweed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is, but
Through the chair,
work to clean
Yes,
it.
Ted?
I just want to open the door for Ed because he may have heard the applicant say, maybe I'll just start digging stuff up. Now that we know there's Japanese knotweed, Ed, do you have a comment or two?
I already had my finger on the button when I heard Japanese knotweed. But first, Stephen, I want to tell you that you have one of my favorite houses in Hopkinton,
Well,
for
thank you.
whatever that's worth to you.
Well, I took a look at it and said, that is cool. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy it. Little did I know that buying an 1853 farmhouse is a bit of a nightmare.
My
An
mother lived,
1818 farmhouse.
my mother lived in a 1757 farmhouse, so we know each other's story.
Cool.
Knotweed is extraordinarily difficult to get rid of. It doesn't go away with any light touch. The first way to start is later in the season. You cut it all about a foot off the ground, then you squirt nasty bad chemicals down into each stalk. You do not go spraying all over the place. And that's your start. And then you repeat it next year.
Okay.
And the year after and the year after that.
And then, and again, that's where the question is that my property or his? That's another question. I think we can work together to take care of that. Because we're both in similar mindset that we'd like to make that nice, and if we need to get rid of invasive species, it's part of that process.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's not on if it's only on his property and not on yours, it'll be on yours really soon if he doesn't. Yeah. So I think it's definitely a team effort on that because it spreads like crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know where to start with. Is it my property or his? Again, I'm more interested in getting it cleaned up and looking nice than I am about whether I have an extra 8 feet of property or not.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I think given that we need a DEP number and there's a few comments, I think you can go through on Joe's letter to incorporate on the plans, couple details, couple notes. If you could get those updated, then should be in a good place, I think. I'll open it up to other commission members if anybody has any questions or comments, as well as the public.
Hi, Melissa. I guess I'll just say something quick.
Yep.
When I looked at the initial proposal, my only hesitation was the stairs being that close to the wetlands. And I think that we said it's not previously disturbed, but it is kind of trampled down. It does not look like super important. When I looked at the photo, super important land back there, and a set of stairs properly built, I will be fine with, especially given that the PIBs are in place with an additional one proposed. I think if I looked at this really busy plan, yeah, there's an additional PIB proposed to help with that line of PIBs.
What is a PIB?
It's a it stands for permanent immovable barrier.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's probably, there should be on this plan, maybe an icon that says what type of PI. Oh, there you go. That's what it is. It basically has the symbology on there and it says, you know, this is a protected resource area. It puts a line to match what's on the plan to show where you're really not supposed to go beyond and disturb in that buffer zone or resource area.
So again, so as I understood what he just asked for is put one more of those in to delineate the line right behind the barn?
I think what Ted was saying is it looks like there's one proposed on your plan right now.
That is what I'm
Chair.
saying. There are some already there,
Yes.
and the plan indicates an additional one to be added. And that gave me more reassurance that I'm okay with this.
Okay, yeah. And Dave probably did that as part of the planning process. Dave
Through
Martin,
the chair.
he would.
Yes, Joe?
Yeah, there are two additional PIBs on the plan.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
just saw that one close to the
Yeah.
stairs, but
Dave knows this well.
oh, you're right. There's the other one. That one more southerly is also proposed. Anyway, that gave me reassurance. I just want to say that was my biggest kind of wait a minute, and I think that when it comes time to vote, that I think I will be fine with that.
Okay.
Thanks for that comment, Ted. I was thinking the same thing, and the undisturbed whatever didn't really need to be there, but since the door's already there, yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay, the one other note I took was the carport construction, I guess. Did you guys want to look? I mean, I submitted the plans for the construction. It's literally 6 piers. They'll go up to support the whole structure. And any access up to the carport and in the carport will be, and I don't know the name of them, but they're 18 by 24 or 12 by 18 cement and or plastic diamond shaped things that will be filled with loam and grass. I may use gravel in the garage, but it'll be permeable throughout all the area. And the carport's really pretty open, so if there's rain getting in there, it'll go right through and out.
Okay.
So I don't know if you need any additional information on the carport, but the building plans do show it's on 6 piers. It's pretty wide open.
Okay. Judy, is that on this plan set?
I didn't see a spec for the carport. So the location of it is here, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see any detail for it.
And show one to you if you would like, and it was submitted with the building permit. If you need a copy,
it was with the building permit. Yeah, we wouldn't necessarily have gotten it. So if you could send that to me directly.
Should I just send it to you, or do you want to see it now?
You can just send it to me, and I can include it in the file for the commission to look at a later date, since that's a little late for them to look at it right now.
Yeah, we'll look at it before our next meeting. And
Through the chair,
yes, Ted?
I look to you and Matt for questions like this. Given that it's additional roof area, do you guys have concern for additional controlling of stormwater runoff off the roof? And is that something the applicant should consider? Or are you comfortable with something of this size in its location?
I think the plan will help to look at it. It's surrounded by grass, is that correct? The
Yes.
surrounding area, and it'll just rainwater will drip off into the grass. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Yeah, I won't even put gutters on the backside. I'll put a gutter on the front, and I guess at some point, because that will be the entry. So I would, I guess the question would be, where do I put the gutter? I mean, I could even run it right into the garage and let it flow through the permeable stuff and replenish the grass, replenish the area that is blocked by the roof.
Yeah, that would be preferred if it's going onto the pervious area, not directed to like the driveway or somewhere like that where it's picking up nutrients and sediment or other pollutants.
Well, then we probably don't want to go into the carport because I will be parking cars there.
Yep.
So, I mean, does the surface area in this create a consideration? Because again, total area is what? Let me just look. It's about what? 30 by 18. So that's your total carport out exterior dimensions. Well, 18.
Yeah, I think if we can think about how, if we can think about how, or you can think about how that water, where it travels to when it comes off the roof, avoiding areas where it can pick up pollutants and ways to encourage infiltration. So whether there's, infiltration, gravel drip line or something like that around the edge, or if it's going to, a grass area that's not steeply sloped.
Well, David probably has some ideas here. I mean, again,
Yep.
But I guess my first question is it really, I mean, when we think about stormwater, again, this is dry 99% of the year. I guess, we wouldn't run this water right to the edge of the yard where it's going to flow back into that wetlands? It's coming off the roof before it hits anything. I'm asking an honest question because to me it would seem like if it's wetlands and it's dry all year, do we want to help replenish it occasionally?
Yep.
Melissa,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, roof runoff's clean runoff. So preferably, given you've got the yard area and it's relatively flat, if it works well with the final design of the carport to have the rainwater sheet flow through that yard towards the wetland, that would essentially be a qualifying pervious area or a filter strip. Single family residential homes don't have to meet the stormwater standards, but that would essentially be compliant with water quality and recharge.
And again, standards. I think that's just a drain pipe, so I can't go into the non-disturb area to do that. So I think that is still, if you scroll down a little on the plan, Judy, where those trees were cut down, that is all lower area. If I just do a runoff into that area, it's going to flow back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that all sounds reasonable.
Right. So we'll show, okay, and again, but at this point, I still have to stay on the left side of this black line. And I mean, again, if it's all lower, so it wouldn't take much to bury a drain pipe out there. Would you rather have it go further back and disturb a little bit, or don't disturb and let it flow naturally?
I don't think we're asking for a pipe. I think as long as it's, like Matt said, hitting the grass pervious area, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, all right. In the front, we might have to think about it a little bit. Okay.
Okay. All right. Then can we go?
And then the only other thing, again, you had asked about those gardens. one garden is dead in weeds and hasn't been grown for 10, and they're rotting plants, rotting boards, and the rest of it. That will go away. I have no intention of replacing those. And it was literally, I think, at one point a vegetable garden, but it's gone to weeds, and there are mostly just friggin' raspberry bushes sitting in the other. Their landscape timbers going up alongside. It's basically raspberry bushes, and at some point, that egress coming down out of the barn may go right over that area. But literally, I don't know that there's anything there. I mean, there might be one or two milkweeds in there. Are you concerned about milkweeds, preserving them? Because other than that, it's just raspberry bushes.
Yeah,
And I just assume get rid of that, both those plots, because they're you know, they're just eyesores, both from the wood and the plant specification. So
right. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with getting rid of them. I think the question was just what goes back in its place. Are you planting grass? Maybe just, on your next plan update.
Yeah, there'd just probably be grass. I mean, this is where anything that's not going to be. Yeah, at some point, I guess, I never thought at some point I might do a little more landscape design, but quite frankly, I'd probably be doing everything in the front of the house and nothing more beyond these lines that have already been done, because be easier that way, right? I submit the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, that sounds reasonable. I think our next meeting date is June 9th, and then the one after that is June 30th. The June 30th is in person. So would you like to continue out to the next meeting on the 9th?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, okay. So
I submitted the plans back in December, and I'm just filling all the I's and dotting the T's, and lost the contractor that was going to do the carport for at least a little bit, so I'd have to find another one. And
okay.
I was also so I would like to get this going as soon as possible. So absolutely. And we'll hope we get the DEP. If we don't hear from the DEP, Dave or I will let Judy know, and you can just,
continue it again.
Reschedule it.
Okay, that sounds good. Then can I get a motion to continue this out to June 9th?
So moved. This is Ed.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
So do I need to submit another notice to the public? Okay.
Nope.
And so we'll just show up at the meeting on the 9th, and hopefully we'll have everything in place by then.
Yeah, you'll just want to provide your updated plan set in advance of the meeting so that we have enough time to.
Yeah, I spoke with Dave, and he got stuck in on a plane. His plane failed him, so otherwise he wasn't here. So we talked about all this. We'll get it all done and submit it, and hopefully everything will be in for the next meeting.
Okay.
So thanks
Thank
again.
You. Yep. Have a good night. Okay. So.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. I got it right here. You want me to get going?
Yep. Go ahead, Ted.
Here we go. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a request for a determination of applicability filed by Todd and Natsuko Burstra. I hope I got that right. To reinforce the house foundation and associated site work. Location 18 Lakeshore Drive. Assessor's map L35, block 16, lot 0.
Thanks, Ted.
You're welcome.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rich Kirby from LEC Environmental. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, yes, Todd and Natsuku Burstra hired us to evaluate the subject property and file an RDA at the suggestion of conservation staff to reinforce a foundation associated with a portion of a single-family house at 18 Lakeshore. The property measures just under 5,000 square feet. It's in the southeastern portion of town on Lake Maspinock, which is plan view north. You can see Maspinock Lake labeled on the plan there. So north is to the right. The foundation that's going to be reinforced occurs off the rear of the dwelling, and you can see there's 11 small black triangles which represent push piers. Push piers are similar to helical piles, but they are hand dug, and then there's a hand-operated hydraulic press that sort of presses them into the ground until a certain PSI is reached, a certain pressure is reached, and then brackets attach the push piles to the foundation. The holes are backfilled by hand, and then the land surrounding the foundation will be restored in kind. So that's the process. We don't anticipate any heavy equipment or machinery back there. Frankly, it would be hard to get even a bobcat back in that backyard area with all of the patios and hardscaping that occurs between the street and the rear portion of the lot. We are proposing erosion controls. You can see the sediment boundary, the erosion control barrier, limit of work line, straw wattles with biodegradable netting only. That sort of will surround the backyard where they'll be doing the work, give them, reasonable space to operate. And what else? There's also a drain line with a bubbler that you can see proposed on the plan off the back right corner of the house. That's basically to take any groundwater or rainwater that accumulates around the foundation and move it away from the foundation. I did reach out to the contractor Groundworks to get a little bit more information on that. And basically it's that they don't expect any sort of regular, flush of water that's coming out of that. It literally is a bubbler. Water typically will bubble out. We did add a note on the plan specifying that a 2-foot diameter area of stone be placed around the bubbler pot, if you will. It's what it's called, to prevent any erosion within the immediate vicinity. So that's the story with the bubbler. I noted that we had the peer review from Joe. I did purchase the near map photo imagery, which goes back 10 years to show the patios. And if you want, I can share my screen and share that imagery with you. But the patios appear to be in place going back at least to 2017. Before that, it's hard to tell. The Google Earth imagery is obscured by tree cover, so you really can't see what's going on beneath the trees. But the near map imagery does give us information to show that they were there at least as of 2017. So I think that overviews the project. Relatively straightforward. Obviously we have the resource areas include the bank to the lake, which occurs along a stone and mortar retaining wall along the western property boundary. We also have bordering land subject to flooding, which occurs up to elevation 350.5. A portion of our temporary access and work will be within that elevation, but it's all previously disturbed and developed lawn, deck, patio, structure, etc. And that'll, again, all just be replaced in kind with no change in grade proposed. The contractor understands that, when you excavate everything by hand and you put it all back, really the only volume of soil that should be left over would be the volume of the push piers at each location. And even those are, for the most part, going to be above the floodplain. But we've talked with the contractor about removing any excess soil from the site just to make doubly sure that there's no displacement of floodplain on the property as a result of the project. Lastly, we also prepared a waiver request to do this work since portions of the work will occur within the 50-foot buffer zone. And construction access, if you want to call it that, will occur within the 25-foot. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, thank you. Did you say that you have a note on the plan about the soil that's being removed? Or that was just a discussion with the contractor as far as taking that off site?
That was a discussion with the contractor. Let me see if that made it onto the. Yeah, there is no note to that effect.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the contractor anticipates it being a pretty, de minimis amount.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Joe, do you want to go over your comments or the highlights?
Sure. I think Rich touched on a few and answered a few of the questions. We did go out and look at the property. Have no issue with the delineation or any other wetland resources nearby. I think the biggest point is that some minor temporary work is proposed within the 100-year flood zone, bordering land subject to flooding. And often when you have work within a resource area, it requires a filing of a notice of intent. But in this case, I think if the commission concludes that the proposed work would remove, fill, dredge, or alter the area, the resource area, then a notice of intent filing would be required. If the commission feels that the area would not be removed, filled, dredged, or altered, then this could be looked at under a request for determination of applicability, a negative determination. The pipe and the bubbler were described by Rich. And I agree that the bluestone patios are difficult to see on the Google Earth images. Just put that out there because I don't know what the permitting status of those patios was or is. Also note that there's an existing wooden dock. Don't know what the Chapter 91 status of that is, but we typically mention that for all the lakefront properties. The commission may want to consider some additional information on that if a Chapter 91 license hasn't been obtained. The straw wattle, I know this was one of Judy's comments also, should be located closer to the work and not necessarily all the way down at the edge of the bank. And we concur with that comment also. And that pretty much summarizes our comments.
Okay.
And if I could, we did relocate that straw wattle much closer to the work area, as shown on the plan that you're seeing now.
Okay, right, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. This seems pretty straightforward, and to me, I would say it would fall under a negative determination of applicability, as I would agree that it does not remove, fill, dredge, or alter any of the area. It's all temporary impacts, and if we could, Judy, I would maybe just condition that decision on that we're not approving any existing hardscape, docking, accessory, anything else shown as existing on this plan. It would, this determination is applicable to what's being proposed. For the drainage issue. But I'll open it up to commission members and see if others have any thoughts, questions, considerations.
I'm with you, Melissa.
Okay. Anyone from the public? Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability. As I said, not with the condition that we're not approving any other existing hardscape docking, accessories, anything else on the site with this decision.
And does that require paperwork and signatures?
It does, with signatures by Judy or Anna.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye.
All right. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next up we have 12 North Mill Wall Street development continuation for the soil testing access. I think Mr. Petrozzi left the meeting.
Mr. Petrozzi has left the building.
Okay.
Through the chair, can we just vote to continue it just to stay until we figure out what's going on with that, and he'll either withdraw or move forward on this application?
I'd like to make a motion to continue the 12 North Mill hearing on access for soil testing.
Can I get a second?
The chair.
Yes.
Could you please specify a date for that?
Continue to the 9th.
I'm happy with that amendment. Keep my motion.
Second. Oh,
I think that was Ed. All in favor, Jim?
aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right, next up we have 75 South Street, amended notice of intent continuation. Let's see, Judy, do you want to, I see Joe's on the line too. Who would like to take this to present? Gersh.
Happy to give it to you,
Okay.
Joe.
Joe, okay, go Joe.
Yeah, happy to. Good evening, folks. Joe Marquardt out here. Based on discussions from last time and input from Joe and Lucas, specifically the April 28th memo, we have made some additions to the plan. I guess Judy's got it focused here. The rain garden down in the southeast corner. We increased the size of that to 700 square feet to meet the requirement of 5% of the contributing area, and have highlighted the stone diaphragm at the pavement edge on the west side of that vegetated filter strip. In addition, we updated some specifications on that grass strip. The grass is to be planted there at that location, and we have moved our ECB line along the southerly property line, excuse me, so that we are now doing all our work entirely on the bounds of number 75. Related to that were updates to the suspended solids calculations and the operation and maintenance protocols for chiefly the garden and the filter strip. So we feel like we're kind of in line with the recommendations of Lucas in that memo, and kind of have wrapped up all those concerns.
Great, thank you. Joe or Zell, would you agree with that summary?
I would. All of our outstanding comments have been adequately addressed.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think the work on this site, the improvements that have been made have been great. Anyone else on the commission have any questions or comments at this point? Anyone from the public? No. All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the amended notice of intent for 75 South Street with signatures by Judy or Anna?
So moved.
Second, Ed Harrow.
All in favor, Jim,
Aye.
Ted,
Ted is an aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
and I am also an aye. So again, thanks, Joe, for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, got through that continued hearing list. Now we're back down to work session items. So we have Charleswood School dewatering update. Judy, do you want to kick this off? I know looks like we have some members from the school team here as well.
Sure, through the chair. So for other commissions' benefit, Melissa, I, Anna, and Chris Eberly and Chris Kenny from Vertex met with town council regarding last meeting's discussion about dewatering and discharge from the Charleswood School project site onto the Conservation Commission owned property at 0 Briarcliff. There were a few discussion items out of that conversation that the Vertex folks were planning to bring back to the school building committee, get their thoughts on and come back with an update. So I believe they just met earlier today and are here with, I believe, an update on their next steps that they will be looking to do as a result of the conversation with town council. So I'm happy to provide any additional details, or Melissa, if you'd like to pass it over to the school committee folks, let me know.
Yeah, we can turn it over.
Chris Eberly for the Vertex Companies. We're the OPM for the Charleswood School. I think that the big update is that in discussion with town council did determine that any modification to the conservation or permanent or temporary modification in terms of a structure to the conservation parcel would require an an Article 97 process. And there is no willingness to pursue that process. So we are going to modify the design. That process is in process, for lack of a better word. But the engineers are currently working on an alternate for the single, I think it's a 6-inch discharge that was permitted to go onto the parcel and come to a, I want to say it was a 4x4 outfall, that we're looking at other options to do that. Once we have that in place, we will be looking at what a restoration plan looks like for the disturbed areas. Obviously, we understand the need to correct the areas that were disturbed where we went onto the Concom parcel. But I think further discussions need to be had about what that modification looks like at the end of the day. The other point that I'll make is that we did ask Brate to pull back their erosion control to the north side of the parcel line. So the active construction site activity is now outside of the parcel. We did not remove the fencing or the erosion control that was present in that area, and so that the disturbed soil would not be open to the rest of the parcel. We also had Joe Orzel arranged to have Lucas Environmental come out, and they did a site visit. I won't speak for Lucas on what they observed. Beyond that, we did ask Brate to mitigate their discharge. After the meeting, they continued to discharge at a high rate, so we pushed for them to split the discharge into 2 separate areas so that they could mitigate the volume of water. They have since reduced to, if not today, by the end of the week, 1 drilling rig, so that should also mitigate the creation of that water that needed to be discharged, so that the ongoing significant discharge should finally be ending. Judy, I don't know if I missed any other steps. The restoration plan and the modified permitting are in process, so we don't really have an update on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I would look to Joe to go over the results of his site visit, but I think there were some questions about long-term monitoring of the forested area, given the dewatering has been going on longer than was originally reported. But
Okay.
Through the chair.
Was it Ted?
That was Ted. I wonder if Judy could just put up the plan before we have further discussion. It might be helpful to everybody in the room to have the plan to follow along with.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. While Judy's doing that, Joe or Zell, if you want to go ahead and speak on your site walk and Lucas's letter
Sure.
or email. I think it was an email. Yep.
It was an email, correct. So when you go out and look at the area where the discharge occurred and the sediment discharge and where the water is currently being discharged and had been discharged, with respect to the amount of sediment that was released, it's a pretty minor amount of sediment, a thin film. And don't have too much concern with that at this point impacting the vegetation. I think we're recommending that it just be left alone. I think trying to clean it up and rake it up in any way would probably do more disturbance to the ground than just leaving it in place. It is pretty minor. I think the bigger concern was with the potential impact on the groundwater table in that area. We look at the seasonal high groundwater table based on soil conditions, and it's about 3 feet deep. At the time we were out there, ground was pretty much saturated, and the groundwater table was only a few inches below the surface. And it's still a wet time of year, but I think that is largely due to the amount of water that was being pumped and the impact on the groundwater table. At the time of the site meeting, it was anticipated that pumping would continue for about 1 more week. We were out there on May 7th, and based on the discussion that I just heard previously, the pumping is still continuing. Our opinion on the 1 week duration of pumping was that it would probably not be have any significant impact on the existing trees and vegetation. We're getting into the period where trees are leafing out. They're going to start pulling out some of that groundwater and transpiring it. However, we also recommended that if the pumping continued longer than that, it may warrant some ongoing monitoring just to make sure that there is no impact going on with the vegetation. I don't know at this point what the anticipated date for the end of the dewatering is, but I would think since it's been over a week and a half at this point, it may warrant another inspection and just checking on the groundwater level with a hand auger or something to see if it's still as high as it was or if that's gone down. After the rain today, probably is up again, but that should be looked at, I think, and would like to know what the anticipated schedule is to complete the pumping at the site. And I think that pretty much sums up the comments. The existing erosion controls were in place. They looked like they were functioning and adequate to hopefully prevent any further discharge of sediment.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. I think it does make sense to have Lucas do another check, like you said, for the groundwater, kind of post drilling maybe, or at this point now that the flow has been significantly decreased based on what Chris was saying. And then maybe based on that, we can talk about long-term monitoring, maybe that's in conjunction with the replication or whatever restoration that's done. There might be some monitoring for replanting of trees. So I think we'll have eyes on it for a
Through the
little
chair.
while going forward. Yes, Judy?
Just a thought, if Joe is just suggesting a quick auger to look at the groundwater levels, I think staff can handle that if
Oh, great.
you'd
Okay.
like to just reduce a little bit of the cost on the town. We're happy to
Yeah.
go out.
Yep, that would be great, Judy. You could do that. You're out there anyway. Thank you. And thank you for the update, Chris, and for staying on top of this. I think a lot of progress was made since our last meeting, obviously, to really kind of figure out what was going on and change the course. So we appreciate that. Does anyone on the commission have any questions based on what was presented here tonight?
This is Ed. I have a couple.
Sure.
If I remember rightly, this area is about 15 by 80 feet, and I'm wondering what will be done to stabilize it such that, no erosion from precipitation takes place, etc., before it starts to revegetate.
Yeah, you're talking about the area that was cleared. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fenced in, and I walked out there. Ted accompanied me as well. And we saw that the erosion controls were still in place within that fence line area. So they do have, yeah, there we go. Some erosion controls still out there since it's not stabilized, like you said. I think that makes sense to keep those in place till the restoration work is done or whatever we decide for restoration.
Okay.
It's not the end of it for sure. As Chris had mentioned, the school group is going to come back with a restoration plan that we can discuss at a future meeting. Yeah.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I think there's ongoing discussion about the restoration plan and what's necessary in that area. I don't know that we have a count of how many of the trees that are cut were on conservation land. Again, just to reiterate, this wasn't a rogue action by the design team. We permitted this, and it was later raised by a resident that the permitting process that was gone through was flawed in terms of the conservation property. So I just want to echo that sentiment that this wasn't, while the responsibility of the contractor to do their dewatering has been poor, the overall intent of, encasing this area and identifying it as a place for discharge was part of the permitted plan. Now that we've identified the potential conservation issue and it was raised by the resident, we are pulling it back and mitigating it. So I just want to echo that sentiment to any viewers out there of this, that the project was not acting irresponsibly by pursuing this. We were doing what we said we would do as part of a permitted plan.
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed.
I'm not amused.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, I don't think there was ill intent, but, we find ourselves in these situations. So we'll look forward to fixing it as best we can. And thank the school committee for working with us and Vertex. Does anyone have any additional thoughts at this time? Anyone from the public? Okay. And not related to this in particular, but related to this property. Judy, this might be one that we talked to Trails about. Since we do have this nice conservation property, I can envision someday that the people will want to look for a path to connect to the school. from Briarcliff. So again, not part of this hearing, this project, previous plans, but as I was out on site kind of walking it, it struck me that, I think we should probably put some thought in place proactively with trails to think about that before the school's built and people are making their own paths through the woods.
Yeah, through the chair. My only thought, since you brought it up, is whether or not there's legal access to Briarcliff, but we can definitely look at that.
Yeah, okay.
And through the chair,
Yes, Ted.
all of the stars may not align, but if there was a way to think about the restoration project of this strip in conjunction with trails, that might make sense. But if the stars don't align and timing doesn't align, then so be it. But
yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Wow, look at that. Took care of all of our agenda items. It's not 9 o'clock yet. So just jump to the conservation minute. There's a couple things here. Judy, did you want to talk for a minute about your application checklist revisions?
Sure. And I will be mindful of the fact that we're finally getting out before 10, so hopefully this will be quick. So I have put in the public folder, there's in the work session folder, several track changes, docs of our 4 permit application checklists. I think through reading Joe's reviews, doing intake of applications myself, we tend to be missing the same couple of things. All of the checklists look different fonts. Some of them are kind of messy, and the ANRAD one was a mess. So I kind of just took a look through all of them, tried to standardize, clarify requirements, and then add the ones that seem to be missing that we ask for every time. And then one of the bigger changes is just switching up the colors that we ask for with the color plan set, because I don't know about you guys, but I cannot look at another yellow line. So trying to make that a little bit more clear. So since they're referenced in the regs, I think it's best to have them reviewed by the commission and give you guys a chance to provide feedback. And if not today, eventually it'd be great to have a vote to approve the changes that I'm proposing. But yeah, I think this would mostly affect myself and Joe looking at the original applications, hopefully getting you guys better quality applications in the end, but it shouldn't really affect your process too much.
Okay.
So let me know if you'd want me to go through them or if you'd prefer to look at them yourselves, whatever works.
Okay. I think I looked through them myself. I gave at least one comment, but I'll do another pass. Do others feel comfortable looking at these on their own time, or do you want to walk through them? I'm thinking own time.
I'm okay looking at them on my own.
Okay. Then maybe we can bring comments back to the next meeting if possible.
Perfect.
I think all these things work toward speeding up our meetings, saving time if we have comprehensive checklists and can identify things up front. That's great. And along that vein, Judy, we had talked about updating the material submission policy, at least online and with applicants. I know you said you've started doing that, really holding people's feet to the fire as far as getting things in a timely manner so that we're not wasting time during the meeting, looking at materials that came in at the last minute. So I don't know if you got that up on the web page yet, but
I did, yes.
You did.
So now on the meeting dates and deadlines and in a few other places, we have a note that these are filing deadlines for new applications, but for ongoing hearings, we need materials at least 1 week in advance. And if folks continue administratively, we process that. If they choose to come to the meeting and you're not comfortable discussing the hearing based on the amount of time you've had to review materials, then I think having this in place gives you the authority to say, you know, we need more time. We're not going to be discussing this tonight.
So these filing dates, the 3 weeks before the meeting, that has always been up there on the webpage. But the idea is just to, you know, make sure that we're still following that, kind of reinvigorate that idea, and then added the footnote here about the revisions and ongoing materials so that they're right up front when people are looking at the next meeting dates, and they have that and see that they're supposed to be in a week in advance. So I don't think it's anything we need to vote on, but I just wanted to let everybody know it's there if you have any comments on the way it's written or thoughts. But I'm gonna try and use this to keep our meetings going quicker. Anybody have any questions, comments on that topic? Additional recommendations? Okay. And then voting attendance, I just wanted to touch on that because it came up. Does anyone have any questions on that whole process? As far as if folks miss more than one hearing, then it runs into issues with whether or not, you know, you can vote on a hearing. So that's why we had 12 North Mill. We ran into the situation there and had them reapply or re-notify and reopen the hearing. So if you get a note from Judy, and I think one or two people have, about signing a form, that's what it is, Judy, right? You're basically signing a form acknowledging that you've read materials, gone through things, you feel like you're up to speed. If you've missed a meeting, then you can continue to vote on that hearing. But this is something that I think we used to do, kind of got out of practice, but we're running up against it. And going to pay more attention to it going forward so that we're not put in a situation where we're coming to vote and then things get questioned or challenged because, you know, these Mullen rules are in place and we don't want to be not following them and then have our decisions brought into question. Does anybody have any questions on that, or did I talk?
Not a question, but I'll just say that is the way to do it. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing it that way.
Okay. Judy gives you that paper for homework. That's why.
That's right.
And then we talked last time about SIG and a representative for that group for Lake Maspinock, and Anna made a good suggestion to maybe reach out to Heather and see if it was something that she was interested in. So I think you were going to do that, right, Judy? And
I'll plan to do that. And we have the written recommendation that was received for Don Kaiser in the public folder as well. So folks can take a look at that.
Right.
And I'll reach out to Heather as well.
I did get some clarification from Jeff on the Sustainable Green Committee as far as where that recommendation came from. And it was not a recommendation. He was clarifying that it wasn't a recommendation from the Sustainable Green Committee for this particular person. It was a recommendation by Jeff personally, just knowing him, and so he didn't want it to come across as this is being recommended by the Green Sustainability Committee. It was just a personal recommendation based on having dealt with that individual and thinking, you know, it was a good fit to represent the Conservation Commission. So a little clarity provided. We discussed that last time too. I think we said that first meeting is in June. Did we confirm that for SIG?
Their next meeting hasn't been scheduled yet, but
Okay.
it wouldn't be until late summer. So
okay.
not not super urgent, but
Okay. Okay, great. That's all I have. Does anyone else, anything else, or does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I guess I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor, Jim?
Aye.
Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Em. Good night. Sorry for the coughing fit.